there with. So a little bit of corruption going on there in the Jesse Jackson Jr. Case. And it's a Democrat. He's holding on, trying to say, well, I'll go away. I go away. I go away if you give me disability. Now, I don't know what his reason for disability is, but what? Because he had a breakdown? Didn't he have a breakdown? He had to. Sorry, that don't compute. You know, your constituents and the American people shouldn't be paying you because you were a criminal or acted in a criminal manner. The reason why he probably had a nervous breakdown is because he was being investigated. I mean, look, this is a state where corruption is just the way to go. If you are not corrupt, it would almost it would almost seem that if you are not corrupt and in politics in Illinois, specifically the Chicago area, you're not normal. As many people in Illinois, especially in and around Chicago, have been accused and or convicted of political crimes, corruption, that's a pretty accurate statement. You would not be that far off to say, oh, hey, if you're a Chicago politician, you're corrupt. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case for 100% of them, but with the number of corruption cases and the number of corruption cases that have been won and the number of government officials that have gone to jail in the state of Illinois, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. That's why I asked the other night, is Illinois the most, virtually by the number of people, government officials that have been convicted of crimes while in office and or gone to jail, is Illinois the most corrupt state in the union? Or is it Rhode Island? I know Rhode Island has had a few governors go to jail. It's had a few of their public officials go to jail. I don't know if it's Rhode Island or if it's Illinois. I was just asking the question the other night, but now we got this guy who's holding his congressional seat hostage. Yeah, I'll go away if you pay me. Oh wait, isn't that? Oh, that's extortion, isn't it? Really? Isn't that the classic definition of extortion? You got to pay money in order to get a desired result. He's not a sports star. I don't know. Maybe now he's going to be investigated for extortion. Considering, I'll resign if you give me disability. I mean, that sounds like extortion to me. I don't know. Are they going to investigate him? Congress has 2 weeks to vote on it or decide on it. Are they going to have a vote? If it's a vote, I mean, can't they also vote him out? I think that's how that works. And Republicans can say, no, we're not going to pay you, or you're not going to get paid disability pay, and we're also now going to vote you out of office. I think. I don't think has it ever been done where Congress has voted to censure its own a couple of times in the past, but I don't recall. I don't know everything about our country's history. I'm sorry, folks. I do try, but I didn't look this one up. I don't know if Congress has ever booted anybody out, because I think they've always resigned before it got to that point. So I don't. Is it a 2/3 vote that's necessary? I don't. Well, obviously, if there are certain things, I don't know if he gets convicted and goes to jail. Well, then obviously he's not going to be able to serve his constituents by being in jail. But at the same time, I don't. I would assume. I would believe. I believe and would assume that his demand for getting payment in exchange for doing a certain act like resigning, I would think that would be extortion. But I am not a legal expert, and I am sure he probably got legal advice before he made such a request, and his legal advice probably told him, no, you'd be in the clear if you asked for that. But I would think that it would be, to do such a thing would be extortion. But I'm sure he's not that stupid. I don't know, there are some politicians you wonder how they get elected. And I'm not talking Ronald Reagan, but there have been some politicians that really are, they're just nut jobs. Speaking of nut jobs, Alan Grayson was elected in Florida. What? We got to deal with him again for another 2 years? Are you Floridians crazy? Yeah, I'm just saying. Michael Reagan, the son of Ronald Reagan, the elder son of Ronald Reagan, and the adopted son, I do believe, not of Reagan's blood. But Reagan says to Newsmax, foolish. The two Tea Party candidates hurt the GOP. Now, Ronald Reagan's son, Michael Reagan, declares that some Tea Party candidates were absolutely fools for getting involved in moral controversies instead of concentrating on economic issues. Actually, I'm going to have to agree with him. Yes, it was important. It was important to make sure that we had people who understood moral issues such as abortion. But it was foolish to make those positions superior to our economic positions when most of the nation was concerned about the economic conditions, not whether or not somebody could get an abortion right away. Now, those are things that are secondary. Those are things that are not they're social. Observers in the media have been saying that the GOP lost the presidency and the Senate because the party put up too many Tea Party candidates. Now, I don't buy that one. However, it's not because they were Tea Party candidates. I do believe it was because they were focusing on the wrong things. Now, Republican strategist and best-selling author Michael Reagan tells Newsmax TV in an exclusive interview, listen, some of those Tea Party candidates are fools. Absolutely fools. I agree. He says if you want to get in those arguments about abortion and rape and so on and so forth, go run a church. That's where you belong. And we put some of these people forward for election. Again, I agree with him to a point. But see, it wasn't really necessarily the candidates that were bringing those to the forefront. It was the lamestream liberal media that because they were inexperienced in dealing with the media, many of them, the media put forth these non-issues as major issues, and they fell for that. They fell into the trap, and they were defending those types of things. Because somebody would, it would. Let me put it to you this way: it would be like, I'm an evangelist. Okay, I'm a Bible thumping, fire branded evangelist, and I believe in my soul that all abortion, any abortion, is against God's will and is absolutely evil. But I know that I'm running for office, I'm running for Congress or Senate, and I want to make sure that our economy gets put forth. But the lamestream media, they see that I'm against abortion, even in the case of rape. They elevate that. They ask me questions on it constantly. And instead of me saying, those are very good questions, but I think that there is something more important that we need to discuss, and that's the economy. No, instead of me saying that, it would be like they'd ask me a question on abortion, and I jump right into it. And then they start saying, well, see, this is all this guy cares about. That's what happened to the Tea Party, Michael. Tea Party. They were inexperienced, and what's worse is not only were they inexperienced in dealing with it, but the GOP is also at fault because they did not give them guidance. They let them flail around on their own. So when they failed, now the GOP can say, well, see, they were nut jobs. No, they weren't nut jobs. They were inexperienced in the ways of politics, dirty grassroots. That's not grassroots. It's dirty national politics, just dirty politics, period. They didn't get any guidance. They weren't told, okay, now that you're the GOP nominee for Senate in this state, here are some things that you're going to need to know. Don't fall for this. Don't fall for that. They weren't given that kind of guidance. At least if you did give it to them and they ignored it, then you could call them idiots. But they thought, well, hell, obviously if the press is asking me this question, our constituents must be demanding answers to this. And they fell for that trap. And so all their other positions, other than the hot potato social issues like abortion, became the main issue, even if it was not the main issue that candidate believed in. It wouldn't be. Now, I am against abortion in most cases. I'm against abortion on demand. People know that. It is not my main. If I'm running for office, it wouldn't be my main issue. My main issue would be the Constitution. What are we doing with the Constitution? And thus, working within the framework of the Constitution and getting the government to follow the Constitution to help bring back our economy. If you want to talk about abortion, great. That's not my main focus. That's what I'd be saying. But a lot of these people aren't as sophisticated as I am. Or as those who've been in Washington and in the capitals for years and years and decades. They didn't get the benefit of their wisdom because those with the wisdom didn't share it. So Michael Reagan is correct to a certain degree, but he's also not placing blame on the GOP for not guiding anything to do with them. Do you understand? The blue bloods of the GOP, the moderates of the GOP, they were willing to lose the seat to a Democrat than to let these Tea Party people get elected. So, folks, I'm telling you this straight up. It is not the Tea Party candidate's fault for losing. The GOP offered them up as sacrifice. They were more willing to lose the Senate than to have true conservatives elected. Now, that's the truth. If you look at look at the people that the GOP supported and did not support. If you were on the inside, a blue blood on the inside, and you did what they said, oh man, you got great treatment. You got the bucks. But if you went outside their norms, if you challenge the so-called moderation, that's all we're hearing now. We got to moderate, be more. Because if they got elected, if those conservative Tea Party people got elected, they would have pulled the party to the right. And it would have blown the argument that we need to be more moderate in the GOP, when we don't. No matter how you put it, if you tear apart the election and see who won and who lost and why they won and lost, it's because the GOP is killing themselves, folks. And yes, we, the constitutional conservatives, need to start stepping up and putting forth even more Tea Party candidates and constitutional candidates. But we need to start teaching them and giving them guidance so they don't get suckered in and distracted. And so the lamestream media left and the left wing doesn't get to label them. But so the person who's running gets to label